Hi everybody, Gary Williams here for Toolbarn.com's Barn Banter. I'm sure you have all heard of Jean-Baptiste Alphonse Karr, right? Yeah, me neither, but he's a Frenchman who lived in the 1800s, and he's really only famous, at least as far as I'm concerned, for saying the more things change, the more they stay the same. Now that actually applies to what we've been doing on Barn Banter over the last several episodes. We've been showing you new tools and new technology from some of the major tool manufacturers around, and we're going to show you some more of that today from Bosch. We've got some great examples of how things are changing. Now, tools change, the work they do stays largely the same. They still cut, slice, hammer, saw, pound, all those great things. We've got some great things to show you, so stick around. S'il vous plaît. That's French for please. It is. As we've said, the more things change, the more they stay the same, and that's true of a lot of different types of tools as they mature or change over time. And this looks pretty much just like a regular drill, and it'll perform that function, but it's also a hammer drill, which means that it will drive screws, nuts, bolts into a lot of difficult materials that something like this really won't. This is pretty much a conventional type of a drill driver. These are both 18 volt, by the way, but this will give you a little extra muscle when you need to get something drilled in or fastened into kind of a tough spot. That hammering action gives you a little bit more power. Now, what's nice about both of these things is they feature what's called an active response system. This active response system in these tools senses when a bit is binding, and it shuts the tool down. So it's a great safety feature. You won't have any of those torque-related type injuries that could occur, and that's really something that, especially when you're on a ladder, is really a good thing, because how embarrassing would that be, and how injurious would that be to get tossed off a ladder because your drill froze up or locked up on you. Here's another great example of tool evolution. Now this may look like your typical impact driver, but actually it's not. It's an impact driver and an impact wrench. Now this thing will take a 1/2 inch socket and do a great job driving a nut or a bolt into a tough piece of material. It'll also use a 1/4 inch hex bit, whether it's a screwdriver bit or a drill bit or whatever. So this will give you a lot of flexibility. It's kind of like two tools in one. And again, it's flexible and it gives you a little bit more room or a little bit less to carry when you're out on the job. As you know, if you start off and you're just a little bit off, by the time you get down to the end of a wall or whatever you're doing, you can have quite a bit of error. So it's great to get started the right way, and these will help you do that. Now this thing has an accuracy factor vertically and horizontally of 1/8 of an inch at 30 feet. And that's big enough for just about most of the rooms I'd be working on anyway for what I would do. And it's a pretty convenient tool. There are other attachments that allow you to hang it from a ceiling or whatever, or put it on a wall. This one is a little more elaborate. It's got a brighter laser, and the nice thing about this is that the diode will brighten, but it doesn't overheat. It's got a system that prevents overheating of the diode. And here again, you get a horizontal and vertical line, and you also get a vertical plumb. You can't see it, but there's a spot on the ceiling, and you get one at the bottom of this thing on the table as well. So you get a plumb line, vertical and horizontal lines that are nice and level and square and flush and all those great things. This one offers a little bit of a different feature in that it's got a laser that projects out front and horizontally and vertically, of course, but it also projects out to the side at 90 degrees, so you can square things. For example, if you're doing a floor layout, this would be a really nice thing if you're putting tile down on the ground to get everything nice and square and straight across and straightforward. So any one of these three is a great tool to have, and we've got them all at Toolbarn.com. Check out the product page. We're going to take a look at some rotary hammers from Bosch, and these things are great tools. These are kind of the big boys of the rotary hammer world. Both of these things use 36 volt batteries, so they're cordless, which is really nice because they carry about the same amount of power as a corded rotary hammer. And it's a great feature to have when you don't have to worry about tripping over cords when you're out on a work site. The nice thing about these, which makes them just even more feasible, is that these 36 volt batteries will quick charge to 80% in about 30 minutes. So You get a big charge on these things in a relatively short period of time, which keeps you working, keeps you going, keeps you in business, and that's good on any work site. Good for anybody who works for a living, right? These tools have some torque control features in the clutch that'll help minimize user fatigue, and they're also kind of a safety function when you have that, because these do pack a lot of torque. The newer one also has some built-in shock absorption. Now, both of those things, both of those features add the control for the user and comfort for the user, and that's important when you're working a long day. Even though Bosch is a German company, I'm going to give you just a little bit more French history. The Eiffel Tower was built in just more than 2 years, about 2 years and 3 months or so. It involved 18,000 metallic pieces and more than 2.5 million rivets, some 300 construction workers of various kinds, and they got that job done, like I say, in just a little more than 2 years. Well, I'm sure that if they'd had some of the tools we've shown you today, they'd have gotten that done in probably just a few weeks, don't you think? Well, we'll never know, but you can have all these tools and you can find out more about them by going to toolbarn.com. So check it out, whether you are building your own Eiffel Tower or just making money and earning a living with these tools. So check them out, toolbarn.com. And join us again for Barn Banter. Thanks for being with us, or as they say in France, merci beaucoup, or something like that.